here's your host, Alex Garrett.
All right. Well, we recently talked about the athlete blog leaving 2023. And now we're going to talk to the man behind the athlete blog to start 2024. I call him Andrejs B. Andrejs, welcome back to our podcast.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for
First
having
of all,
me.
since we last talked, you gave us a whole rundown of what you've been up to and what you're training for and whatnot. What are clients telling you heading into 2024 as far as their goals? I mean, everybody talk about resolutions nowadays, right?
To be honest, I don't really believe in resolutions. I call resolutions more like wish lists. It's kind of hopes of a better future and some, distant goals or something kind of we wish to have, and then we set them on our to-do list and call them resolutions. But in reality, unless we create a plan for it and follow up, I have never seen a kind of a resolution going into fruition without a serious, some structured approach to it. But to answer your goal, for most of the athletes, it's always running a marathon, running an ultra, doing an Ironman. I'm somehow in the past couple of years transitioned more into an ultra running coach. Ironically, I started off with training people for Ironmans, half Ironmans, and marathons, and somehow it seems to me that there's a lot of demand for ultra running, and all of kind of various adventure type of races are really booming. And actually, a lot of people that I'm coaching now are having some exciting challenges ahead.
Well, your recent newsletter talked about these different goals for 2024, so I wanted to follow up on that and dive more into it if you'd like.
Oh yeah, as I see it, kind of the goal, in my view, the goal should always originate from some sort of vision, from some sort of why are we doing something, and only then it can go past the resolution state. And what I personally believe is setting actually smaller goals instead of doing like a big and major goal, like doing these crazy events or dropping 50 pounds of body weight and all of that. Rather have it as sort of a vision for the year, but set really the quarterly goals, like run this amount of miles, or complete this smaller project, something that is easily and stupidly attainable, and then reach for that. And in particular, one thing that is very helpful in triggering this kind of movement and growth is a challenge. So it can be as easy as committing to like 30 days of movement challenge, and then taking off from there, where the experience would leave you. So that's one thing that the guys and girls can do for the year ahead. In terms of my goals, I'm actually really looking forward into stepping into social media. For now, I've been more on the blogging side and newsletter writing side, but I haven't really done any of the social media stuff seriously. And for me, that's really the number one goal for the year ahead.
I'm looking at this now, and it's issue 50. Congratulations! Did you think you get to issue 50 when you first started this?
Well, I had this big idea that I would go past 100. This was like a wild goal, but then as I started writing, I wrote the first one. It took a while, and the second, third, I had idea, but when I was past the third one, I was like, oh my God, this is way bigger of a project that I have imagined, because I thought it will be fast and quick, but in reality, the writing process is never quick. And but here I am. How it was like 3 years ago, I think I started it. I think I even started it in January, so it was one of my goals, and I'm happy it went past the resolution state. So it's been a journey. Yeah. Thanks.
No, congratulations on that. Now, I got to say, we focused on your athleticism and what you've done as an athlete last time around, but you're also a small business owner, aren't you, with all of this going on? How do you put your athletic mindset and business mindset together?
Well, throughout my life, and I do have quite extensive career in corporate, so it has been really helping me in every step I take. The kind of athletic mindset or the background that I have as an athlete, because I mean we always have our good days and bad days, and kind of on the bad days, I think the most important part is that I always remember that it's just, one of the days I need to put my head down, continue to work, and then it will kind of compound in the end, just like training compounds. And yeah, I think the growth mindset, the winning mindset that you develop as an athlete, it's really helpful, and it helps to see things not so black and white. So there is always kind of in between days, there are always some things where you need to learn to take lightly, just like in training. You need, to stress yourself, to inflict training adaptations, but then you also need to step back to recover. And the same as in life. You cannot, push all the way. There has to be a balance.
Being a balance, how do you balance out? Because you got a lot of clients, and when people go to you, what can they look forward to as far as your preparation for each client you deal with? Because you got a lot of a task load, if you will. How do you balance out your research, your preparation for each client that maybe people don't know the backstory of Andrejs and the athlete blog?
So, kind of, first of all, I try to provide every person with a personal experience, and what that means is I basically take my experience as an athlete, as a coach, as a self guinea pig in terms of various kind of biohacking and life optimization type of questions, and then I would take a certain problem or challenge or a goal that a person wants to achieve, be it in business, because I also coach various executives and business owners and kind of healthy lifestyle who doesn't necessarily need to run a marathon but just want to adopt this athletic mindset or become more healthy or active. And kind of I put their issue or challenge through my prism and then help them change their perspective and figure out what habits they need to build and what knowledge they need to develop, what systems they need to implement in order to reach wherever they are going. Because very often they have the goal, but it's more of a placeholder goal, like something that society or other people or friends have kind of inflicted on them. They think they need to, lose weight, or they think they need to run the marathon. But in reality, most of the people just need to, feel better, feel more confident, develop some self-fulfillment and things like that. And through my coaching, and it's kind of more physical based. So it comes through various physical activities, exercise, mobility, flexibility, lifestyle changes, things like that. Through that, I help them achieve whichever goal they kind of set themselves, knowingly or maybe secretly, unknowingly. And my whole kind of vision for the coaching is that any peak, as we call it in kind of athletic terms, you peak for a race, you achieve your ultimate peak condition. But as I believe, that every peak is just a stepping stone. So just like in any project, you work in the project, you really work hard to bring it to conclusion, then you finish. But after every project, there always comes a different one. And in the same way, after every goal, after every peak, there is always something new that you want to strive for. And typically, for example, when someone would set a New Year's resolution, like I want to lose, I don't know, 20 pounds or 10 pounds, or I want to gain a couple more pounds of muscle mass or things like that, they think only till their next peak. So when I reach this, then I will be happy. Then I will, look just the way I wanted to. But then always in athlete's life, in person's life, always comes, now what? So if a person, wants to, like elite athlete wants to win a race, he or she wins a race, and then that feeling of satisfaction might linger for a day, for a month, for a year, depending on the scale of the victory or scale of achievement, but it always wanes off. And then the question becomes, so now what? And so that there is no this bitter taste, this is what I help people to achieve, to realize that we're in for the long haul. So we need to build ourselves for the long haul, both in kind of physically and psychologically in the mindset.
Andres, got to ask you this before we wrap up for today. Running and success in life, they go hand in hand, don't they?
Totally. I think so. Unless a person is running away from something. So this is where there's a boundary. You can run towards something or you can run away from something. And if you're running towards something that you're passionate about, you're excited, you want to have more of, it's a good thing. But if you're running to just get away from something, then you're rather running, you're probably running away from problems or something. And that mindset is not a winner's mindset. You want to be running towards something. You always want to be focusing on what is it that you want to achieve instead of what you don't want to have. And in that case, you would be running towards success.
All right. Well, I gotta say, your title has to make 2024 the best year of our life. I feel like everybody says that before each year, but how are you helping those really make it their best life? I mean, it sounds a bit of a cliche, but I know you're working hard to help others improve their life and your own this year.
Yeah, in terms of changing your life, making the best year, yet I believe in a 3-step process. So it's not enough to set a resolution or post on Twitter that I will do this by the end of 2024, because it might work, it might not work out. And this accountability is just one piece of the puzzle of how to set goals, achieve them, and fulfill your potential, whatever it is. Personally, what I 100% believe in, and what I especially in the beginning of every year with my athletes, we sit down and set the goals for the year. It always is a 3-step process that can be drilled down into infinite amount of further smaller steps. But the 3 core steps are: first, self-reflection, then setting inspiring goal, and more importantly, following up. Because if we just put our finger in the air and then we say something that we would want to achieve, as I mentioned earlier, it might be that someone has influenced our decision, whereas what we want to achieve always should come from within, based on a self reflection, meaning, what is my definition of success? Where am I now? How far am I? Where's the gap? What do I want to do with my life? And do I actually want to change? Is it am I happy where I am, or am I really unhappy and want to do more? So that's really important, because if we set the goals without building that foundation, those goals will not last. We won't create that what we call it, intrinsic motivation to fulfill them, because we need to have power over those goals. Those have to be our goals. Then based on that, we set those goals, and more importantly, besides the goals, we also set at least a draft plan or a rough plan on how we see today achieving them, what that would mean. Probably that plan will change as we go. It doesn't really matter. But more importantly, we have to have we need to drill down those goals into some form of an action plan. And here, the sole activity of creating that action plan is more important than, what specifically we're doing in the plan. Because when we start creating a plan for the goal, we attach ourselves, we create this emotional connection, we invest our time into this goal, our thought process, and we are getting more and more invested in that particular activity, or we see ourselves, we visualize ourselves in the future. And that visualization is a very, very powerful thing. We internally, we are accepting ourselves in the future. And it's a very big thing, especially for people who want to change their body composition or want to achieve a certain result. Because again, you need to first win in your head before you win in the race or wherever. So we need to create that acceptance. And then obviously the most important, second to last, after we create the plan, we need to commit to a specific smallest action that we can do already today. Be it, register for a race, or be it, send an email to someone to inquire about something, or basically do something that takes you like a millimeter closer to that goal. Because again, it will create that connection, create a bond that later on would drive you to to complete that goal among 100 different
I want to get back
lists.
to something I think you pointed you put a finger on it a little while ago, but starting small and then growing from that, isn't that what we got to do? Like, I feel like we've got to sort of proportionate this, like our goal proportionally. What can we do even in an hour to get that bigger goal accomplished, not try and get that goal accomplished right away. And I'm learning that in 2024 to start small and grow from there.
Oh yeah, totally. This is as I write in my newsletter, there are when the going gets tough. So when in the race, there's always this moment where you hit a rough patch, or you're somewhat close to the finish, but you're like really on the limit. And what defines a winner from everyone else is that the winner, will continue to suffer and will never give up, even if in that particular race he's not winning. So for example, a person goes, I don't know, he approaches the finish line and he's like third or fifth or seventh, and the fact where he is finishing doesn't really determine what is happening in his head. In his head, he's giving his 100%. And the trick to do that is actually not to think of, this particular race or this particular distance. I'm gonna, I need to finish it, but rather break it down. So I will just, go until this signpost. I will do, I don't know, 10 more steps, as easy as you can to break whatever you need to do into smallest chunk and just focus on the next one. The same is in business or in project management. Whenever you have a massive task you need to do, the more massive the task, the more the more procrastination, or the more we procrastinate to do it or do the next step, because it's very vague. It's very hard to commit to it. But when you break it down into simplest, smallest action and just do it, then you can start creating this momentum and snowball effect, because after one small task, you have another small one and then another one, and there is a higher chance that this momentum will build.
Got to be honest, looking at your newsletter, we could talk about this all day, but listening to your body, is that vital for 2024? I feel like every year is vital, but why do we go on in years is listening to your body more important, if you will?
There is a saying by I think it was Niels van der Poel. He's a speed skating world and Olympic champion. He said, if you listen to your body's whispering, you will never need to hear it scream. And how I read it or how I understand it is, when we listen to our body and when we think about it, what does it mean? And if it's good or not, then we're able to prevent kind of bigger issues. So for example, for a runner, there might be, tightness around the knees or, tightness in the feet. And then if they brush it off, just like, yeah, whatever, doesn't really matter. And, continue training without trying to figure out, okay, kind of what's the background for this? Where does it originate? What can I do to slow it down or reverse it? Then there's a high chance after a certain time they will develop whatever condition there is. And there are many different reasons why, muscles can be tight, or why we can have certain niggles or something. One of them is nutrition, another one is recovery, training load, stress, and everything. And when you listen to the body, what it whispers, you can learn really a lot more about how you can perform. What are the patterns? When does your body feel better? When does your body feel worse? And kind of arrange your lifestyle around the patterns that really work compared to the patterns that make you feel bad. And then bit by bit, you're actually changing your lifestyle for the better and gradually maybe cutting out the less effective habits from your daily routine, and then just including more and more of good ones.
Well, by the way, you can get all these at the Athlete blog, and Andrejs, there is a button to subscribe right on the website, correct?
Yeah, in the on the main page. If you go, there is quite at the top, subscribe to newsletters.
And then one last thing, how's the book coming along? I know it's published now, but how has the press tour been? How is the reaction been? Any growth on that? Any progress on the book since its release?
Well, thanks for asking. There were quite. I feel a little bit like a celebrity with all of the podcasts and some interviews, and getting some very nice comments about how people around the world are enjoying the book and the tips that they found there. So that's a pretty satisfying place to be. So I'm very appreciative of everyone who have ordered and read the book and took their time of the busy day to share the feedback with me directly or via Amazon review. And I'm really, really thankful for that.
Well, as marathon season comes around here in the States, we'll talk about it, because I know you probably have some clientele that we should look out for, and maybe you yourself we should look out for as this marathon season comes back around.
Yeah, I'm always open.
All right, that was Andrejs B. I can't really get the last name, but Andrejs B. You can say your last name, Andrejs, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.